Welcome back everyone to the Construction Business Blueprint YouTube channel, the channel for every construction business owner who wants more time, more profit and control. So obviously the goal for every lesson is to get people to leave here with as much value as possible and something you can implement straight away in your business. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how not to ruin your Christmas. Because let's be honest, everybody looks forward to this time of year in construction. It's the only time of year where the industry almost worldwide completely shuts down. The phone should stop ringing, clients aren't looking at you to be in their houses and things like that. So this is kind of the only period of the year where we all get to switch off. But the issue is, most of us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we cannot switch off. So like I said, Christmas should be downtime. It should be family time, a reset and a breather. But for most business owners, especially in construction, it can be a very challenging time of year for you personally, outside of the business. So today I'm going to break down why Christmas is actually difficult for construction business owners, as in the break and the time off, the traps that most people tend to fall into, and what you can do right now to protect your headspace and protect that precious time for yourself and for your family. And we're also going to go through the very steps that guarantee that you don't drag stress into the break and even on into then January and the new year for your business. So like everything, like always, every week, this is practical, this is real, and it's coming straight from experience. So I touched on it there very briefly. Let's actually talk into why Christmas is hard for business owners. And it should be a holiday, it should be downtime. Christmas is tough, or holidays in general, time off, downtime, is a difficult time for most business owners, founders, business owners, leaders, because of one thing. We struggle to have that off switch. We can't find that off switch mentally, physically, especially as tradesmen, to the core. We struggle to sit around, we struggle to switch off. So we spend the whole year in this industry at 100 miles an hour, running jobs, answering calls, solving problems, putting out fires. We're hiring, managing teams, everything you can think of. But then suddenly the whole world, everything just stops. So you go from 100 to 0. And that's not natural. That can be difficult to make that transition. And yeah, the first day or two of Christmas is brilliant. The build up. So say most of us finish on the 19th, for example, and then the 22nd is when our holiday starts. Most of us take 2 weeks, unless you're reactive maintenance or something like that. But I'm just talking in general terms here for the industry. Everything's fine, everything's rosy in the build up, Christmas Eve, you've got all the excitement. If you've got kids and things like that, it is a great time. But Boxing Day's over you, you've had all the food, you've drank all the drink, and you're starting to get a bit bored, and you've got that lull between Christmas and New Year where you're kind of going, what am I supposed to do with myself here? So you're sitting there, you're done, okay? You're bloated, you're busted, you're hungover maybe, and your brain starts spinning again. So what actually goes on in your head? You start thinking about the jobs that didn't get finished, the clients that you didn't update, the payments that you're waiting on, the systems that you still haven't tightened or the things that you haven't done, and the pipeline that is waiting for you or the problems that are waiting for you in January. So that weird week between Christmas and New Year's where everyone sits in their pajamas and watches movies all day, for normal people, they love it. For entrepreneurs, they struggle with it. Because the reason for that is because we can't switch off when there are open loops in our head. It's the open loops that are causing the issue. So just remember, the industry shuts down, but your mind doesn't. So the suppliers are closed, clients are uncontactable, teams are off, there could be delays there. Anything you don't sort before the shutdown will be 10 times worse after it. People think, oh sure, it's Christmas, I'll deal with it in January. But no, you won't, and you don't. Because January you will actually hate December you, if you think about it. And your December dictates how your January goes, and your January dictates how your year is gonna go. And I learned this the hard way. When I worked in bigger business with bigger teams, I used to see team members and employees drag things out until the Christmas break because they knew that, leaving tasks half done or half open because they knew, look, for 2 weeks, nobody's going to be chasing me. Deadlines disappear. I'm not going to be getting emails asking me where this is or where that is. So they try to brush it under the carpet and, the responsibility wouldn't come back on them, wouldn't fall back on them, so they avoided it. But what happens when you come back from the break then? You've got your chaos, your complaints, your confusion, and everything's all piled up at once. And, like we always say, we want to start as we mean to go on, and that's not the right way to start. So that experience taught me that you cannot drag your problems into Christmas because they will multiply. So we've talked about how or why these things happen, but we're going to now go into the detail of how not to ruin Christmas. So we talked about the examples of what happens, now we're going to talk about how to fix them. So here's the good news. Christmas doesn't have to be stressful. There is a way to protect your headspace and actually enjoy the break, and here's how you do it. I've mentioned it already. Number one, we're going to close all of the open loops. If something is half done, finish it. If someone is waiting on a message or you getting back to somebody or a quotation, send it, get it closed off, get it boxed off. If a decision is sitting in your head, whether it's with this team member, a staff member, a way to go in business, a plan for the new year, make that decision now. Do not leave that decision to wait until Christmas and fester. Every open loop in your business and in your mind subconsciously burdens you during the break. It may not be obvious, but it's there. Number 2 would be to chase the money early. Cash flow anxiety ruins Christmas faster than anything else. You know, money in your head will always make problems multiply and seem worse than what they are. So don't wait until the 22nd, don't wait until the 19th when you shut off. Invoices, final payments, variations, tough conversations with clients, whatever it may be, get them sorted now, get the cash in. As you know, we've talked about it already in the Q4 planning, most businesses shut down early. You've got Christmas parties, people planning holidays, people planning breaks. You know, they're not concerned about, making sure things are there. So people are available right up until roughly the 12th. After the 12th, everything sort of shuts down. That's when everyone starts to go on the go slow and starts to wind down. They're going to be less, inclined to jump and look after you and your payments. So make sure you get in nice and early for those, and any issues that need to be resolve them there and then. Number 3 would be to communicate your shutdown early. So clients don't actually care that you're closed. They care when they don't know what's going on, when they haven't been informed. Put it set in stone with your team, with your clients. Let everybody know. Set the expectations. Make it clear. Let them know when you're off, when you're back, what's happening during that period. If there's somebody there for maintenance or reactive call-outs or any issues, who do they ring, what happens? Who do they contact if needed? Let them know all of those things, and there will be no issues. There won't be any random phone calls or people pestering you right up to the break, asking you those questions. You get in first, ask the questions, get it out of the way, set the expectations, and move on. So number 4, after you've set the expectations, set boundaries. If you don't decide when you're unavailable, when you're no longer contactable, when you're actually off and meant to be off and having a break, your clients and your team will decide that for you. So create a rule. No work, no calls, no WhatsApps, no emergencies, unless it's life or death by a certain date. Let everybody know and set the boundaries. Turn the phone off if you have to. Set up auto replies, set up messaging, send out email responses, whatever it may be, but get it sorted. Number 5 is protect your headspace. So the goal is simple: switch off properly. And that means switching off with no guilt, no panic, no thinking about the problems you should have finished, being present with your family and actually resting. And the only way to protect that headspace is to get those actions done and dusted. If it happens at some time and things creep in, if you have to take an hour or so in the morning just to write a couple of things down in a diary, make a few plans, get a couple of ideas out of your head, at least then they'll be written down and they'll be recorded, and you can sort of close the book on it almost literally and put it to one side. I'm not saying for everybody, yes, shut off for 2 weeks, absolutely zero work. As entrepreneurs, that's very difficult. If we do have ideas, if we do have plans, if we do have things we want to write down, but we don't want to intrude on the family life and you want to be present, take time out in the morning for that headspace to just do a bit of plan in the morning with a cup of coffee, write some stuff down. If you're used to routine, keep a routine. That's how you're going to protect your headspace and from going from 100 to 0. Number 6, I've already sort of mentioned it already, but use the 12th as your deadline. Do not wait until the 19th or the 22nd or the 24th to decide to be your deadline. You need to give yourself a bit of white space or a bit of scope. So if you decide that the 12th is the cutoff period, which I believe is the Friday, you've got the following week to sort of tie up any loose ends, maybe finish off a few projects, do a couple of things, but the main bulk of the work and actions that you need to be taken or that are open need to be actioned and closed off in that first couple of weeks in December. And then the final 3rd week before you shut off is just sort of tying any loose ends and getting everybody organised maybe, or planning or having things ready for coming back in 2026. Most people treat the 22nd as the deadline, but the real deadline is the 12th. And after that, the world mentally checks out of work mode. And if something isn't sorted by then it will follow you into Christmas. Number 7, get your team aligned. So we talked about clients, we mentioned team, and we talked about boundaries, but get your team aligned with what's happening. Who's working, who's off, who handles emergencies, sort all the wages, the holiday pay, the bonuses, whatever it is you've scheduled for your team, get that organised now. Let them know what to expect in 2026 when you're starting back, what they're going to be working on. You know, if there's a new plan in place, new structure, new things you're trying, then let them know, make them aware of what your plans are. Same when we talked about the Q4 planning, it's a similar thing. Your team needs to know your plan. Your team needs to know what direction you're going in. Because if your team are confused and your team need answers, they're going to be ringing you, contacting you before the end of the break to ask questions. So if your team are confused, you won't switch off. Number 8, prepare your January pipeline. This one's massive, and we've got a whole section on that as well coming soon on this YouTube channel. But January doesn't start in January. January starts now. And like I said, December dictates your January and your January dictates your year. Warm up your inquiries, get your social media ready. Don't stop your marketing over the Christmas break. Have your messaging all lined up, your approach all lined up, and get ready to go. Make sure your clients know when you're taking bookings again, when you're coming back. Get the projects programmed, organized, and sorted. So make sure that your January pipeline is ready to rock. It takes the thinking away, so you're not trying to organize it over the break or those last few days you're trying to enjoy with family. You have it planned and you know exactly what to do when you return on the 5th or whenever it is. So let's talk about the final sprint up to the 19th. So we're not planning for 2026 just yet. During this session, we're not doing New Year, New Goals yet. Right now for you guys in this time of the year, the focus is on the next 10 to 14 days up to the 19th of this month. So ask yourself, what is the one major thing, or what one major thing would make the biggest difference before the shutdown for you and your business in order for you to be able to switch off? It could be clearing your inbox. Maybe you've got a million emails, a million open WhatsApps, a million open loops, a million customers that need answers. Maybe it's clearing all that, because there's nothing worse than even when you're trying to enjoy the Christmas period, you open your phone, you see a lot of unread messages or unread emails. That's going to subconsciously play in your mind whether you're actioning them or not. Closing out client communication. So like I said, I kind of touched on it. It's the same thing as clearing your inbox. But if there's any things unanswered by clients, you don't want to leave them festering for 2 weeks over the Christmas period and then having the address again, trying to remember what happened almost, it could be 3 or 4 weeks before you're getting back to them. That creates doubt in the client's mind as well. So get everything boxed off and closed off communication-wise before the end of the month. Tidying up your systems. If there's something that's been hanging over you in terms of putting something in place, making something more streamlined or more efficient. If you're one of my clients, for example, it could be completing one of your tasks on the business plan. It could be finally putting trackers in place, putting the system in place you've been talking about, inquiring about it as a type of software. Do that now and tidy up your systems, tidy up your processes, and get things ready for 2026. I often say as well, pick the hardest, most difficult thing, the biggest problem, the biggest thing that's annoying you, and fix that first. Something that's been annoying you or hanging over you for months, and you keep putting it off and putting it off. Don't take that into 2026. Fix it now, fix it in this last final stretch. Take the time out, get it boxed off, and you will feel much, much better over the break. Another one would be updating your pricing or templates. So don't wait until January, because it will be a rush in January. It'll be like a baptism of fire coming back again. Things will get busy really, really fast. If you're thinking about raising your prices, updating your pricing, how you're presenting your quotes, think of those things now. Think of your pricing schedule, your pricing structures now in December before moving into January 2026. And then, like we touched on there, sorting your pipeline out for January. If you're sitting there now and your pipeline isn't ready, it isn't primed, it isn't ready to go, jobs aren't ready to start, clients know materials are ordered for the new year, get that sorted now, because if you know that's hanging over you during the break, you will go back to working during the break and you will have that anxiety hanging over your head. Just remember that your Christmas depends on what you do between now and the 19th of December, and it is not long. By the time this video is out, you'll have maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks max. So listen, Christmas should be a break. It should reset you. That's what you need to use this time for. You need to use this time to re-energize you, recharge you, take the rest that you've been battered for 50 weeks. It's time to take a rest for 2 and start again fresh. But that only happens if you prepare for it properly. If you go into Christmas with chaos, you'll spend the break thinking, stressing, worrying, replaying problems and scenarios over and over and over in your head. If you go in clean, you will enjoy it. You'll switch off and you'll come back in January refreshed, primed, ready to go, and miles ahead of everybody else. As always, if this video helped you, hit subscribe, because I'm doing a full planning session for 2025 review and a 2026 later this month. And if you're a construction business owner who wants more time, more profit, more control, reach out. This is what I do every single day. We help tradesmen transition from tradesmen to business owners. Thanks for watching, and don't ruin your Christmas. Get your shit sorted early.